We've had it for a while.
Yeah, I've had it for a while.
I mean, well, we have that. Does that have a USB-C plug in it?
I think so.
Like you can plug USB-C into it?
I think so. I'd have to double check it, but I don't want to flip it around.
Because I think we need that for next Monday. To have the wireless mic.
Yeah. I'll have to look at it. We'll figure it out.
We'll have to look at it.
Freaking technology. Just out here. Pissing us off.
Crazy.
Left and right.
All right. Do I need anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Let's get started.
Let's get started.
On SMSoup.
All business today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I am Spencer.
And I am Shelby.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not slurring my words together like I feel like I do most of the time.
Oh.
I feel like...
I thought that was part of the bit.
I feel like 25 me slurring my words together.
Well, just like the intro being
sometimes
absolute insane.
But sometimes I listen to you starting to like do the minor edits that we do before.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of checking in like
certain areas. And we realized we can't tell what you're saying for the first 2 minutes.
Because I've got like mud mouth.
Yeah.
I literally sound like Brad Pitt's character from Snatch.
That means nothing to me.
It should. He like puts on like a Cockney.
Oh, gotcha.
But I think he's a gypsy.
Okay.
So he just says like not like he's just like nonsense.
Okay.
Noises.
Gotcha.
You can't make out a word. I feel like that's what I sound like half the time.
I mean, not that bad, but sometimes we're like, what? What do you say? And we have no memory of what was said. Also, are we blurry?
Oh my god. We are.
Hallelujah.
I'm like really pale too today.
Well, I mean, we got some of the light coming in. Sorry for that squeak. I got this really going on you a bit.
All right, that helped. That helped a lot. That helped warm me up a little bit.
Yeah. Stop being so Edward Cullen.
I mean, I'm still super pale.
You're not sparkling though, so.
No, that's good. That's good. How you doing, Shelby?
Pretty good. I was about to say can't complain. I could, but
wait, we're here to take you on We're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions. Like, waiter, how is the soup made? I missed it. I fumbled it.
You said it pretty clearly though.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
How are you doing, Shelby?
Pretty good. It's a weekend that I'm not working, so that's a win. Otherwise, just trying to exist in this great big world. You made us cappuccinos this morning, which was great. And that's it for me. How are you?
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got nothing. We're recording this on a Sunday.
Sure are.
So yesterday was Saturday.
Sure are.
And we wanted to go to a yard sale type thing.
Yes.
Event that was being put on.
Yeah.
And Shelby, in her infinite skill
oh yeah, baby.
of these things.
Oh yeah.
We get there.
Uh-huh.
And we're both a little like panicked or anxious, I would say,
sure.
Because like there's nothing.
Like we're looking at an empty lawn.
And we were there technically at start.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like one of those things where it's just like, oh God, I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling
yeah.
where you can't like, there's no crowd to like somewhat follow.
Sure.
And we're like trying to find more information on it. And do you want to?
No, by all means.
Okay. The event happened on, today's the 7th. It did happen on April 6th.
It did.
April 6th, 2019.
Yeah. I took us to an event that I genuinely, I was looking at my phone and I was like, oh my God, Spencer, we got to go right now. And we like jumped up and we went and we were like, oh my God, there's an event. And then we got there and it took a really long time to be like, oh fuck. This was years ago. This was 5 years ago. Which like how that listing is still up and so searchable is actually insane.
When that event happened, Shelby, we still hadn't graduated college.
I know. But hey, we tried to go there for its 5-year anniversary and no one else seemed to notice. We've been trying to hit up yard sales. Yard sales, it's the season of yard sales.
I just don't understand how you do it.
Because it's all the way at the bottom, and why is a listing that's 5 years old still coming up?
What else was at the bottom? What else was at the bottom?
Day.
And?
Where it is.
And?
All the important information.
The time, right?
Yeah.
So you were already down there.
Everything but the 2019.
You were already down there.
Oh, yeah. I was deep.
Getting the time. That's how you knew we needed to jump up and immediately get going.
Yeah.
The problem was you were 5 years too late.
Yeah. I'm going to get a time machine. I'm going to go back 5 years just to go see the event. But on our drive, we saw signs for other yard sales.
We did.
So we lucked out and actually ended up at 3 different yard sales. One which was actually an estate sale, which is really fun because if you've never done an estate sale, at least how they're run in North Carolina, this is not normally how they're run in Pennsylvania. So I don't know the difference. But you get to actually walk around the people's house generally. And like literally just everything has a tag on it. And like, but it's like pretty much where it was in their house. Like you walk into their master bedroom and they're like, we want to get rid of this bed frame for this much money. Or people are like, give me an offer. I don't care. So you're literally walking around people's houses, which is a little weird, but obviously they're like probably leaving it. So like it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just love walking around people's houses. I'm just a very curious gal. The other 2 were just yard sales, like people in their front yard being like, please take all this away for $5. So we hit it all, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm excited because, again, we're in the season of yard sales. Spring, people want to get rid of their shit.
And we
want to take it.
Buy shit.
Which is so wild because I know I've talked before about I'm like, oh my God, like having so much stuff gives me anxiety. And every now and then, I haven't done it in a while. I'd say I've gone good and better at it. But I used to like feel the need to like purge like pretty consistently because I felt like I was just like anxious about how much shit we had. Grogu, you are not going on the counter. I literally out of my peripheral saw him high up the counter.
Like, what do we actually have that
well,
is...
We have a lot. We have a lot of stuff.
But what do we actually have that, like, isn't, you know, of some sort of use or...
I would agree. Like, I'm not saying...
If anybody has tchotchkes, it's me.
Yeah, but, like, we even still use those.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, I feel like we do have a lot of stuff, but we don't have, like, an attic full of just, like, stuff.
No, we don't have an attic, but yes.
If we did.
If we did, it would be full of stuff.
Well, hopefully it would just be full of, like, your materials and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Better spacing. He did it. He actually did it, folks. You could see it. It was on camera.
We got him, boys.
We got him. He's going down.
We just paid a guy to tackle him off screen. No, I know. And not that there's anything wrong with having these things, but like you're right. Like we don't really have like decorations. Like the house we walked into that was kind of an estate sale was like what they had left was like 80% decorations.
They had
beautiful decorations.
They had a home theater.
They did.
That is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those houses that's like 3 stories
and very skinny.
And yeah, it's like very vertical. It's a very vertical.
Yeah.
Layout.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved the layout. Like it was like the exact amount of space and like rooms that I picture wanting.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And I somewhat jokingly, but also like genuine, I want a like 3rd floor, whether it's like a basement or an attic.
Yeah.
Is just where I refer to a 3rd story that
kind of one of those like half rooms where like the ceilings aren't quite the height of all the others. Yeah.
But I would like it to be finished
in
all these scenarios. I guess attic to me or like basement
it really
to
is
me.
just a 3rd floor.
if I'm using those words,
Yeah.
I'm using them because it's like an unfinished space.
Yeah.
That is legitimately just for storage. So yeah.
I mean,
It's just a third
basement
floor.
can be finished, but yeah. Attic is more the like,
Yeah.
I think, understood storage space.
Yeah. So anyway, I want like a third floor, whether it is
Bottom or top?
below ground or tippy top.
Yeah.
And I want it to be like a home theater.
Yeah.
Like I just want the space to be a giant TV.
Yeah.
I want it to have.
I want a projector.
Okay. Okay. We can probably, yeah. We can, yeah.
We'll
All
see.
right.
We'll see.
Um,
We'll draw the blueprints.
but yeah, I just want like a space like that, and I want to have 4 recliners,
Yeah.
maybe 8,
A beanbag chair.
maybe 8 recliners.
Yeah.
Don't need to be anything fancy.
Sure.
You know, they can. I just want them to like be able to recline
Sure.
nicely, and I just want them to be comfortable.
Sure.
And yeah, I just want like a space. And they literally had that. They only had 2 recliners, but
Yeah.
they like had that. They had a giant TV, and they had like
It's
nice
movie
little,
posters.
Like, right, nice little like theme posters.
They did have a popcorn machine.
and they had a bar, which I
Yeah.
would also love, but like,
Yeah.
you know, we'll see.
That isn't necessary.
No, but it would be nice to have like
Yeah.
that right there for
Yeah.
it, for your concessions to be right there.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I was
I
just like,
know.
this is exactly what I've pictured. And
Yeah.
to see it achieved in like a perfect space, right?
Yeah.
Like the space wasn't giant,
No.
but it was good. It was
Yeah.
perfect. And to see it achieved in that space, it was just like, this isn't far-fetched.
No.
You can see it right there. And
Yeah.
it's like, this is easy.
Like literally they had like an old like rustic style, definitely wasn't actually old,
Yeah.
sign that said cinema, and if that would have been for sale, I would have been like getting it as like an aspiration for our future cinema.
We're starting.
But it wasn't for sale, and I wasn't about to be like, can I buy your cinema sign? As they're selling like beautiful stained glass windows and shit.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't about to
But
do
anyway,
that. But yeah,
that was so cool to see.
That was really cool to
And
see.
it was just like, wow, that's going to be me hopefully one day.
Yeah.
Or I die.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
You either give me a home theater
Or
I die. I'm not saying like you say no and then I'm dead. I'm
Yeah.
saying like I'll just eventually die
Right, without
ever
the home
having a home theater.
without achieving your life's greatest dream.
Yeah, like 60 years down the road,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. No, but it is funny to me because the yard sales were very like they were like begging us to take it, like begging, which I get it. Like my parents like kind of hit that point when they moved where they were like, literally anyone who will take this, like, please take it. And I think we're gonna see just some more of that. Because the whole, like there's a giant kind of like age gap happening with like the amount of like retired people. And so we're already, don't get me wrong, in a gigantic surplus of stuff. And I think that we're going to kind of see a huge wave of like genuinely, we just don't, we already, to be fair, don't know where to go with all of our shit.
Mhm.
But I'm saying like on a human to human community level, we're like not going to know where to go with all of our stuff in
Yeah.
like the next, I feel like 10 to 20 years. And I think it's just so interesting because I sit here and like I walk up to a yard sale and like I try to be very like I will use this, like, and it's like great that like it can just like actually find use, not have to get thrown away, not end up in a thrift store and be like questionably like taken, not taken. But it does crack me up because the people who are like literally give me $5 and walk away with anything you want, I'm like, that like probably will be us in like 50 years. Like I do feel like people just hit a point where like
What am I going to want to get
you
rid
have
of?
all these moments where you're like, oh, I'll just like get this, and the next thing you know, you're looking around and you have a fucking house filled with like shit and basements filled with shit and closets filled with shit, and then you're like, I just need shit to be gone.
I'll hit up. I don't think I will.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I feel like we just like have a knack to accumulate, and then one day you look back and you're like, fuck, I over accumulated.
What have I accumulated?
No, but I'm just saying, I'm not saying right now you'll do that. I'm saying like, I just think we do that throughout our lives.
Sure.
And I feel like it's just the natural progression.
I don't think I accumulate things though.
Really?
I feel like I accumulate like very intentionally. Like I
Sure.
accumulate video game stuff.
Sure.
And it's just like, but I'll hit a limit there. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like, I'm not just gonna buy a video game just to buy a video game.
Yeah.
like worst case, I hit a point where it's just like, well, I've gotten all the things that I want, so now I'm just going to continue to like fill out the library of Alexandra that I've got going on. But one, I doubt I ever hit that point.
Right.
Or not for a very, very long time. And two, it's just like, but it's finite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, I don't have 14 copies intentionally of like Uncharted Drake's Fortune.
Yeah.
I have 2 copies of it because I had one and then a bundle that I bought happened to have another in it. You know what I mean? And like the idea is to get rid of those. So I guess theoretically, to your point, maybe I would hit a point
I just feel like
I have so many duplicates, and I decide to do a little yard sale, and I say, if you give me $5, you can whatever you can carry.
Yeah, I just feel like
but I doubt it.
I just feel like how we, as I will say, like Americans, treat collecting stuff, and like again, I'm not against collecting stuff. Like we counted our shit. I have a lot of shit.
Yeah, but you didn't count each individual Pokemon card.
I did not count each individual Pokemon card. But yeah, I do just feel like we like have those little moments where like I'll just take this, I'll get that. Oh, that's cute. Ooh, I want that. And then like next thing you know, you just like look back and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I think it happens more like once you own or you are really somewhere for a long time. Because even though we have a lot of stuff, we do get very like, well, shit, we're gonna be moving in the next like year, 2 years.
But then that comes down to like furniture.
Yeah.
Like items. Yeah. And I feel like for the most part, again, one, just because of having to move, I'm just looking at this from the lens of like, I don't think we're ever going to see ourselves get into a situation where it gets like bad.
I don't know.
It could, sure. But like, I don't know. Like if we have a couch.
Sure.
And we're like, we want a new couch. We're not just going to go, we have the space, so we're going to keep this old couch.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be like, we don't need this couch.
Yeah.
We're literally getting a new couch. Yeah. Once we have the new couch, this couch is for sale.
Yeah.
And eventually we could hit a point where, because the couch is probably 15 to 20 years old at that point, because that's how you and I use things, we'll just say, if somebody wants it, take it. And if nobody wants it, it goes.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. I just find it so interesting.
I do see a path where like I could see that happening with like furniture, because I see a path where you may like want to, that I could see if we have the space, I could see furniture becoming another project for you.
Yeah.
But again,
yeah,
I really just like doubt that like, but that would be the only way I could see us actually hitting a breaking point. Again, just you and I.
Yeah.
But I absolutely hear what you're saying. And I think it's good that people are like, I think it's good that people set up things to allow people to come in and barter or just pick up things that they believe either has value or that they will use.
Yeah.
And they just say like, better, like they're doing it as a form of like better than throwing it away.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, so, I agree. I love yard sales. I think they're the best.
I hope that people continue to like see the value in doing that and see the value in like, just because this doesn't have use for me anymore doesn't mean that somebody else can't find use for it.
I agree. Yeah, I'm excited. Again,
buy something new but reuse.
Upcycle the things you no longer want. Anyway.
What are we doing today?
Today, I framed it as I would be your devil's advocate, which I looked up what devil's advocate means because I was like, am I using that correctly? I am. But anyway.
Devil's advocate is somebody who works on behalf of the devil.
Yeah.
To
wait.
Drum up chaos.
I will say, technically the definition according to Google, which I think they take it from Merriam-Webster, but I'm not confident in that. A person who expresses a contentious opinion in order to provoke debate or test the strength of the opposing argument. I feel like the first half does kind of come off a little like you're just trying to poke the bear. Like the words chosen feel a little like you might not have a point in arguing.
It depends.
But right. I know devil's advocate can be just kind of like a pain in the ass. You're arguing for the sake of arguing. But I do like to use it as like I'm just proposing like how we could also view this.
Yes. So I think it does depend on the context of the thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're just being contentious to be contentious, you're a dickhead.
Yeah.
If somebody is saying, I'm trying to go about something in a certain way and I want to ensure that I'm doing it the right way,
you're kind of pointing out
out the flaws, point out the potential shortcomings of the thing and stuff like that.
Or alternative
and
ideas.
be contentious in that way.
Yeah.
Good. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah. So. But so I proposed this, I know a week ago before I had actually done any research on, I was going to be the devil's advocate to, you gave me basically one overarching issue with kind of 2 to 3 sub points that are all connected, which we will bring up in a second.
I don't even remember what I was mad about.
Don't worry, I wrote them down.
So probably not even worth it. That's probably a lesson to be learned.
I know the minute I bring it up, you're gonna be like, don't even get me started. And I'm not trying to dive into the issue itself because I agree with everything you said. Like, I know I can't sit here and say, like, no, you're wrong, because I don't agree with that.
Things shouldn't be better.
Yeah, that's not the point I wanted to make in any way. So I took the approach of, I'm trying to reframe the mindset around these. Not to say to not still be mad about them, but kind of like, why are we mad about stuff? Why?
I'll tell you why we're mad about stuff.
I mean, yeah. But like, why are we mad about stuff? Does being mad about it help? Hurt? What are our thoughts on getting worked up about this stuff? Yeah. So sort of, and maybe not that I really have like actionable steps, but like would kind of trying to reframe our immediate reaction to some of these help in the long run? Maybe. We'll see. That's kind of what I want to talk about.
Sure.
We can still get worked up. That's all right.
All right.
It's all right, Spencer. Whatever. We can still get worked up.
I feel like I'm not allowed to get worked up anymore.
I'm just not allowed to do anything fun anymore. So, your overarching idea that you wanted to rant about was, why do people defend systemically bad ideas / not understand the positive impact of like change, and instead of like maybe considering alternatives, just kind of shit on the person who's mad about something? The examples you gave me were the 5-day, 40-hour work week, the people getting mad at primarily minorities or women for complaining about an issue, and instead of, again, just like hearing them and being like, yeah, that's fucked up, shitting on the minority, women, any of the above. And you did give a specific example, so that's why I said 3 items. And the example was a larger sized bodied person complaining about the less space on airlines, and instead of like being mad at airlines who are absolute dog shit, they shit on the person who like vocalized an issue. So those are the points you gave me. Again, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're wrong, we should shit on a larger bodied person, because we shouldn't. That's stupid and fucked up. But I did actually have an interesting point about the airline thing that I looked up, because I was curious, because I was like, is it shrinking? Like, which airlines suck? I'm not here to defend airlines. Fuck airlines. It is shrinking, but not an actual seat. Well, not as much as we feel like it is in the actual seat. Because the seat between like the 80s to now has only shrunk about an inch. And some are even starting to enlarge them again. Okay. But foot space is fucking awful. And I saw a really shitty thing that like people were like, okay, yeah, it fucking sucks, but above all else, isn't this a safety issue? Like, you're supposed to be able to get out of your seat and like do something if there's an emergency on the plane. But like, I mean, we've all been on planes, like trying to fucking stand up. You're like hunched over and like inching out and like squeezing side beside people. And it's really fucked up that I don't know the organization, but someone did a safety check and they were like, yeah, we see no problem. But they didn't use anyone under the age of 18. They didn't use anyone over the age of 60. They didn't use anyone who had a disability. They had this long laundry list of people that they basically used completely able-bodied, middle-aged, like who would probably be perceived as like quote unquote normal physicality, not taking into account anything else. And they were like, yeah, we see no problem. You can like, you're fine. Don't stop complaining about it. And again, airlines are dog shit because basically the answer they give everyone is like just upgrade, which is like fucking ridiculous. And the other big thing that was kind of played into why it's more of a problem now than it was perceived earlier is because even though, yes, we're seeing a gigantic hike in the price of airlines and it's becoming a very like class oriented method of travel anymore, is because it used to be a very class oriented method of travel. Thus, the planes were never full. Thus, the middle seat was never used. So it felt like you had all this extra room and it was much easier to get around because there were literally just less people on the plane. And now we actually like overfill them. And so it's like, yes, it's the space is shrinking, but like not always in the exact way we think it is. And yeah, so I just thought that was like interesting and fucked up, and airlines suck and they can eat a bag and etc. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to put that in because I thought that was really interesting. I can debate about the 5-day, 40-hour work week.
But here's the thing that like annoys me the most about the whole like airline thing, because it's not even a matter of like the space shrinking. This person's literally just saying like, look how difficult it is for a larger person to just fucking exist.
Yes.
In general. And like you can bemoan the person for like an unhealthy lifestyle and stuff, but at the end of the day, you don't fucking know why they are larger.
Yeah.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Some sort of disorder, some sort of disease, some sort of whatever, right? Like you have no fucking idea.
Absolutely.
That person's life.
Absolutely.
So they're sitting there going like, this sucks. Yeah. And instead of all of us going like, that does suck, right? Like just that's the bare minimum, right? Is just say like, that does suck. Holy shit. This is shitty. Like, no, instead of at least just agreeing, not even to mention being like, we should change things, because think about if a larger person is able to comfortably sit on an airplane. Guess what that means for anybody who is not a larger person?
Yeah.
You're in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You now have all the space in the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of imagining better, we go, fuck you, fatty.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. So, I read this very interesting article called Why Smart People Defend Bad Ideas, written by Scott Birkin, who has a degree in logic and computation from Carnegie Mellon. And this is a really long article, and I'll link it, and it's very interesting, and he does a lot of writing about, you know, how we think about the way we think, cognitive bias, etc., etc. So this is all like taken from that article. Quote, if you learn a few tricks of logic and debate, you can refute the obvious and defend the ridiculous. If the people you're arguing with aren't as comfortable in the tactics of argument or aren't as arrogant as you are, they may even give in and agree with you. And he points out people who just love to be right are probably good at arguing, not necessarily caring about the correct answer coming out in the argument. People who fall into this category tend to just jump between points using kind of like speed as like their method, most likely throwing out minor or major intellectual like insults at you using, quote, you don't really think that, do you? Because that immediately downplays any ability to debate on anything. I also, again, from the book Cultish, I think the phrase she used was like thought ending comments, like, or there was like another word for that, but basically like a lot of religions, cults, etc., if you ask like, but why, they'll to be like just cuz, or to just come back at it with literally like, I of course have no examples coming to my brain, but any comment that just is supposed to stunt you from asking further questions is a thought-ending like comment or a thought-ending phrase, to literally just make you stop questioning it. And that is definitely applied in people who, again, just need to be right and will say they just like love a good argument, but like if you can't refute both sides and if you can't hear out someone and you just result to insulting, just being like, well, that's not right, like that's just a thought ending, like it's not actually debate, like it's not actually trying to achieve anything. Of course, he points out if we as humans aren't seeking out diverse experiences, settings, groups of people, etc., our thought patterns and viewpoints will never be widened. And that can go for, you know, literally any human being on this planet. And he brings up the points of wisdom versus intelligence. Are we applying problem solving logic at the correct part of the problem? Are we just mad at like a million factors went into this scenario and we're mad at factor 1323, but really it starts with like factor 1? You know, are we looking at the big picture, etc.? And Scott Birkin's biggest recommendation for arguing with this type of person is, if you can do anything, slow down the argument, break down the points they're talking about, because even though you might not ever win with that person, if other people are involved, you have a shot at opening up the like quote unquote infallible logic this person thinks they have.
Yeah.
Like, don't let the arguments jump all over the place. Ask for clarification. Like, literally at the end of all of this, the thought process is like slow things down. Like, and that's what I feel like I kept coming back to with everything I looked into. And he does go on to point out other reasons people might be stuck on defending something. The point I think is most closely tied to these arguments that like you get mad about is holding on to something for the sake of quote unquote tradition, whether taught to us by our parents or the institutions we're raised in.
I think that's the thing that frustrates me the most about just like our adversity to change.
Yes.
Is that like, oh my God, I get it. Change can be scary.
Yeah.
But like,
but also most of these things aren't even old that we're like mad about.
Also, we just make up shit. We just make up shit that it's like the slippery slope fallacy.
Yeah.
Where you just like, you start saying like, well, if we do this, then this will happen. And it's like, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have no idea that that's the case. You're just making that up to get yourself angry about something so that we don't try to be better.
Yeah.
So like the 4-hour work week or increasing the minimum wage.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, oh, they said that if we increase the minimum wage that like prices wouldn't go up. And they like showed like a Hardee's or something like that, where the burger went from $5.25 to, or no, it went from like $5.65 to like $5.90. So it was a 25-cent increase on your burger after workers got a $5 per hour increase.
Okay. That's like literally nothing. Yeah.
I can tell you, you are not going to feel that 25 cents.
Right.
That worker is going to feel that $5.
Yeah.
That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
And but it works into like the argument of this shit where it's just like, you said it wouldn't go up and it did. And it's just like, you're just a fucking person who's never going to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating. And it's like 5-day work week. Well, that's just how it's always been. It's like, that sure is how that's always been. But everything else going on around it is not the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
Women have not always been in the workplace.
Yeah.
You haven't always had everybody in the household working for an income.
Yeah.
So like, fuck off. We haven't had as many people as we fucking have in the world at this given time ever before.
Right.
Like, it's just that type of shit where it's just like, this one thing has always been this way. And it's like, cool. But guess what? Everything else has changed that you can't control. So the things that you can control need to change with it.
Yeah.
And we just refuse. We just refuse. And it's either, it's staked in tradition. And the fucking thing that bothers me the most is when people go, that's just how it's always been.
Yeah.
Like, literally my job for the past 2 years has been going in and working on things where I ask somebody why they're doing something the way they're doing it. And if the answer is, that's just how it's been, that is perfect. That's perfect. That means I get to do something.
Yeah.
That means I get to change something.
Yeah.
Because odds are there's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
But no matter what, people are always just adverse to change. And I just don't understand. Why. I just don't understand why. I just don't understand why people can't see the potential benefits of anything, of any change.
Yeah.
Who was it? I think it's George Carlin, who's like, if the average person's dumb, that means half of people are really dumb, which means half of that half of half are, and it's just like you quickly realize how many dumb people there are in the world, or like in the country, or you know what I mean. It's very quick to realize, like, just how terrible things are,
I mean, I think a lot of no, I didn't like look into this, but my gut reaction is that none of that is helped by the very like individualistic culture that we have, because it all comes from like a fear of like, oh God, what is being asked of me? Like, we are so afraid of, as individuals, to be like called to change something, especially if it's not for the betterment of our own life.
Right, but like,
without even knowing that there might be a side effect that is a betterment of our own life. And that's what's definitely like super frustrating. And I think it comes, again, especially from like a United States standpoint, I think it's like a huge mix of, we're kind of in a point, again, this has happened a million times like in history, but right now, socially speaking, we're in a point where like mostly millennial and Gen Z are like, people need to fucking do something. Like, we're mad. Like, we need change, or like this is just going to keep getting worse. And by need change, to like affect change on a mass scale, is to ask political step in, like to ask for political adjustments and political like whatever the fuck that entails. And I would say there is a portion of the United States that
roughly
is
50%.
so averse to political step in, because it's like the whole point of America is like politics aren't going to tell me what to do.
Yeah, but the 50% of people who hate big government allow big government to weigh in on our personal decisions.
Yeah.
Like,
it's very inconsistent. It's very, And I mean, I think that comes down to, again, that's where we get stuck in these rabbit holes of people are in their own echo chambers and people are repeating the things other people are repeating, whether good or bad. And the minute we are faced with something different, a lot of people's immediate reaction is like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not doing this. And so that's where it comes down to like, we're all in our own little worlds when we're so scared of like interacting with something different.
It's just so crazy. I don't understand. I can't possibly fucking understand how we've gotten to the point where we truly believe we're all the main characters so much that the minimum wage increasing is somehow bad for me.
Yeah.
I'm not paying these fucking people.
Right.
What?
Right.
Like, oh, did you see that Sears is out of business? So I don't know why Sears came to mind. Right? Sears is dead.
I have no idea.
Okay.
They sometimes, I feel like, still have a pop-up somewhere, but yeah, they're basically dead. Sure.
Did you see Kohl's increase their minimum wage to $30? It's just like, I don't care.
Right.
I don't fucking care.
Right.
Good for the workers. Cool.
Yeah.
How does that impact me in any way whatsoever?
Yeah.
And if you shop at Kohl's, how does that impact you in any way whatsoever?
You're still gonna be giving out that cash.
You think
cash?
You think those workers are gonna think they're now too good for you?
Right, like definitely not.
They still work at Kohl's.
Yeah.
Like, chill.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't. Kohl's, by the way, does not have a $30 minimum wage.
No, they absolutely
just pulled that out of nowhere. But it's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
It could be $1 million. Sure. The minimum wage at Kohl's could be $1 million.
Whoa.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
It does not matter.
Yeah.
You will not. It's a drop in a bucket.
Yeah.
You won't feel it. You won't feel the ripple like everybody wants you to believe.
Yeah.
If the shirt now costs 25 cents more or whatever happens, guess what? The whole burger thing. Look back, when did the $7.25 minimum wage come into effect? Look back at how much the burger cost then and compare it to how it costs now and get back to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the shit I'm talking about, where people are like, this is how it's always been. This is how it needs to be. And it's like, but why? Where were you when all this other stuff was changing? To say, but wait, This is how it's always been.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Arizona Iced Tea and their cans. I think they're still 99 cents. And those have been 99 cents since I used to work at a general store.
Yeah.
Because I remember stocking them and being like, oh, it's cool that they put the price on the can. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just like, yeah, for as long as I can remember, those have been 99 cents. And even if they've gone to $1.99 since then, a $1 increase since however long,
Over the past
15
15
as long as it
years,
doesn't increase
yeah.
to $2.99 within the next 5 years,
Yeah.
as long as it sticks at $1.99 for the next century or whatever, right? Like, great.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that prices like can't go up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, they're going to. They've
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
So everything else needs to come up with it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, everybody thinks they're going to be a fucking CEO, so they're protecting other CEOs, and it's like, dude, you could die tomorrow and they won't fucking know who you are. They don't care. So why not just get what you can? Why not just get that little bit extra that you can now where it'll make an impact? And you can worry about taking away workers' rights once you get to the top. All right? Because it won't be that hard once you get there. Trust me.
So, thoughts on anger? Does it prevent or inspire action?
Can I? I know that you're better off not getting angry about something, and like you're better off not getting angry about somebody's argument and instead channeling that energy into actual change and like actually moving towards change. And like, but because of how everything in our channels of communications have been set up, we have been pitted against each other in the perfect way to prevent change.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is on media and news and everything. Yeah. And there's a perfect example of it as it pertains to the MLB. Because you had this big scandal with your biggest player in baseball. Yeah. And then everybody forgot about it because, not everybody forgot about it, but like people's attention shifted away from that because, oh, the A's are trying to move out of Oakland. And what's happening there? They're trying to move to Vegas. And this is a whole clusterfuck. And now they're going to be playing at a minor league stadium for 3 years because they couldn't work out a deal with the A's. Also, the A's seem to be benching some of their best players. Why are they doing that? Oh, pitchers are now getting injured at an increased rate. And it's like, what was the first thing that we were supposed to be paying attention to?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, that is how news, oh, you're mad about this thing? Look at this thing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, and now suddenly the elephant that is in the room, you don't even notice it. Right. Because you're so focused on these other smaller issues. Yeah. And that's like, yeah, we're constantly in a state of like being bamboozled and like and getting like the keys jingled like right as soon as you get up to that limit where you're about to push for change. Yeah. It's like, what if we just started killing people as soon as they got to the age of 50 for just like a couple of years? What if we did that? And it's like, well, no, hang on a second. And now you're mad about that. And you forgot about the whole minimum wage thing. Yeah.
So, very popular quote that is used that is argued if this was an actual quote or not, but everyone says, St. Augustine said, hope has two beautiful daughters. Their names are anger and courage. Anger are at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain the way they are. You can see this is a very like nuanced topic. I actually have a book like about anger, and like I really want to like read more into it because I think it's incredibly fascinating, because anger absolutely can be a motivator. Anger literally is a signal to ourselves that we like something needs to change, like that something is wrong. Obviously it can be used for incredibly like devastating and damaging things. It like depends how it's used, how it's channeled, how far you let it like control you. So there are arguments that anger has become a social reactness to unfairness, and it's become a more socially accepted emotion over emotions like sadness, which could definitely dive into the patriarchal whatever, I'm not gonna try to repronounce that, belief of like anger is accepted due to it being perceived as a masculine emotion versus sadness or any sort of super like emotional state, which we just consider sadness.
But men are allowed to be angry, but women aren't allowed to be
I
angry.
know, exactly. That's what there's a whole thing on it. I didn't even get that deep into it because it's a very like
we accept anger, but it has to be coming from the right. Right, it has to be coming from the right
person.
the vessel.
Yeah. So
Serena Williams.
Yeah.
She's out of control.
Exactly.
She just broke her racket.
Exactly.
What a lunatic.
Exactly.
Djokovic breaks his racket.
What a badass.
He's just frustrated.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's how you let out your emotions.
So there's a shit ton behind that we could get into. I just have 2 quotes on anger, sort of like one from a person who views it as dangerous and one from a person, I say person, these are like brilliant people who sees it as kind of a positive, a signal to ourselves. So both these came from a dissertation by TALIA, MIRIAM, Master. I'm like, wait. Yeah, okay. Their dissertation was the link between moral anger and social activism. It's a really long thing, but I really want to read all of it. I'm also going to link it in the thing. It was like a student trying to get their doctorate in, I think, psychology. So a quote that they took from Anger Theory and Management Historical Analysis. This was written in 1995. To guard against growing anger, Seneca advises one to check speech and impulses and to be aware of particular sources of personal irritation. In dealing with other people, one should not be too inquisitive. It is not always soothing to hear and see everything. Which I also feel like that heavily applies to the globalization of media.
Mm-hmm.
When someone appears to slight you, you should be at first reluctant to believe this and should wait to hear the full story. You should also put yourself in the place of the other person, trying to understand his motives and any extenuating factors, such as age or illness. When dealing with anger of others, it is wise to do nothing quickly. Being angry in return is likely to make matters worse, and often some kind of deception is necessary when talking to angry people. And then, as someone who sees it as a positive, fan of the pod, Aristotle, quoted anger as desire accompanied by pain for conspicuous revenge because of a conspicuous slight that was directed without justification against oneself or those near to one. And then he goes on to say that anger, which arises from perceived injustice, is useful for preventing injustice, and that the opposite of anger is a kind of insensibility. So again, it's nuanced. Anger can be a billion things.
Sure.
I read a really fantastic that I'm like really not even gonna go into it because I want people to actually go and read it. Thoughts on if anger motivates activism from David Pilgrim, who was a curator of the Jim Crow Museum in Michigan. And he tells a lot of personal anecdotes about kind of people during the civil rights movement and all the various steps of like, did people think MLK was like not aggressive enough, and then but the Black Panther Party was too aggressive. Like a lot of personal experiences with people who like had strong feelings about how different parties reacted throughout the civil rights movement, and kind of like activists have a tendency to get burnt out because they come in passionate, they come in angry, they come in desiring change, and unfortunately, as we've come to learn, change takes a really fucking long time. In theory, it's short, but during a lifetime, it takes a long time to happen. And when you're angry and your passion is anger, it is really easy to like burn out and be frustrated when you keep getting pushed to the side, when you keep getting ignored, when things aren't happening at the pace you'd like them to happen because you're fired up, and people might be fired up to prevent you. People might just like not see it as a priority. And so it had a lot of interesting pieces about how like activism can kind of get like hurt by the amount of anger you're letting control it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like when, and like it's another thing, right? What I'm about to say, when you see these things on the internet, when you see them on social media, like some people just fucking suck. Some people just say the annoying thing because at the end of the day, clout is clout.
Yes.
It doesn't matter any number of dunking that happens on that person. They got their 5 minutes and that's it. They got their 5 minutes. They came and then that's it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's like a need for, again, like in some ways to like ignore. The other thing that frustrates me is that people do get angry, and like rightfully so, about certain like injustices.
Yeah.
Or like certain inabilities to change.
Yeah.
Right. And like people will like rightfully get mad. But as soon as you get mad, that is like a way of like, your argument's now invalid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you said fuck.
Yeah.
You said fuck in your message. Your opinion discarded.
Yeah.
And it's just like, which causes you to get even more angry because it's like you're being
you're being emotional,
infantilized because you can't properly convey your argument
Yes.
without saying these words. And it's like, yeah, but you're just being blatantly racist just without cursing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So you're saying you're now in the right?
Right.
What?
Right.
So
thoughts on arguments on the internet. This is kind of my last point. This is a little Reddit thread that I found that is sad and heartwarming at the same time. The internet and the algorithms obviously decide what you see heavily.
Yep.
They're looking for patterns. They're looking for things that will like encourage you to interact with it, whether commenting, liking, sharing, whatever. This often means you're ending up in your own echo chamber of thoughts, or as what can also happen is the internet loves to hate react. The internet and any reaction gives it traction to start finding wider circles of, oh, people kind of reacted to something like this. Let's put this in front of them, see if they react to that. And nothing catches on like just some good old hate reactions, like whether hate watching, hate commenting, whatever. You're still fueling the fire of giving it more traction to see more people on the internet.
Keep going. Give me 2 seconds.
So I saw a really, really again, sad but heartwarming thread that I think really sums up what it's like to kind of see these things online. So I, again, can link the thread 100% because I didn't like mark everyone's usernames, but as a Reddit poster so eloquently put it as a reaction to this immediate question, was, in layman's terms, the internet is a talent show for assholes. So basically the original poster is saying how they've been living abroad in Canada for 5 years. They are of South Asian descent, like they are living in Canada as a South Asian human. They see themselves seeking permanent living options there, seeking citizenship, etc. They absolutely love it. And they said they've largely had incredibly positive experiences with other Canadians and other immigrants, basically everyone they've interacted with. They've never had issues based on their ethnicity. They've never had negative reactions or experiences based on their ethnicity. No one's like really ever said anything, confronted them. They've had positive reactions. But when they hop online, they somehow get shit on for both being South Asian and for loving Canada. That has become like a big, like they've somehow ended up in this unfortunate algorithmic tunnel of, we fucking hate you for both the things that you are and that you love. And so they literally were like, this has been a bit of a mind fuck. Like if I put my phone down, I walk outside, I'm loving it.
Yep.
The minute I pick up my phone, it's like, you're the worst person ever. Like we fucking hate you. And so they basically were like, please help. Like, am I crazy? What is this insane echo chamber I'm in that I don't even obviously agree with, but like clearly they're in circles where they've found patterns that they want to show it to them. And basically the thread was like people being like, yeah, like that unfortunately is the internet.
Yeah.
That unfortunately is people saying really fucking shitty things that most people would not say in person, of course, because it would get them punched in the face.
Yep.
So they get all this superpower feeling by, being whatever, keyboard warriors, whatever the fuck.
I can say something with no repercussions.
Yeah.
What power?
Yeah.
What power I have.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
So I just like to, even though it's incredibly upsetting because that shouldn't be happening, I feel like if that isn't the biggest example of how much, one, the internet has become a platform for the vocal minority in a lot of situations, and just assholes, not even vocal minority, just straight up assholes. And if that's not a reason to maybe go touch grass, I don't know what is.
No, it's so true. And I think like the internet causes you to have like a potential negative perception outside. And I think it causes us to like, just head down, just do whatever it is that you need to do outside because like you don't want to interact with any of these people because they might just be mean to you.
It absolutely creates like a fear-mongering presence about strangers you're going to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, 100%. I wanted to grab my phone to see. I wanted to go on to Twitter. And I just wanted to see, like, I was just going to do, like, a scroll and see how many are, like, negative.
Okay.
Just the posts themselves, not even going into the comments. Because the comments will be...
Someone will find something.
Yes, 100%.
Which, unless you, like, literally find something right now. But I tried looking into that kind of, like, negativity and complaining. But it kind of landed down a weird rabbit hole of, like, if people in the workplace are complaining, like, this is what you should do. And I'm like, but it kind of came from a gross, like, people shouldn't be complaining in the workplace. Which, don't get me wrong, like just complaining about everything and not attempting to find action is not helpful. That plays into the like anger is just becoming a band-aid for actual solution, for actually doing anything, because we find ourselves being more comfortable angry than actually like kind of making ourselves uncomfortable by proposing something new, by kind of stepping out there and willing to do something different. There's like a lot of information around that. So I didn't dive into that because it kind of was weird and too like protect corporation focus. So, but they did say like there's a lot of studies behind, we've kind of gotten really comfortable in negativity. And if you try to start a conversation with like, I loved this movie, guarantee if you're in a group of people, someone's going to go, I didn't. And that's not to say that's wrong. Like differing opinions is fine.
Somebody always likes to be contrarian.
Someone likes to, point out the opposite or be like, oh, I refuse to watch it because I hate that actor. And it's like, it's really crazy. Because again, on that scale, that to me is not harmful. But that is like how everything is being conversed about.
Yeah.
And 100%. There was a lot of interesting information on that. And so, yeah, like, sorry, did you find something?
I said I wanted to do a scroll.
Oh, sorry. I know you were going to like read out everything out loud.
Oh, no. Oh. I don't need to read everything.
But are you finding things?
Yeah. All right. So this is from the top. First post, outrage bait. Second post, outrage bait. Third post, something to be upset about. Nope, that one's fine. So 3 for 4. Something to be mad about. And again, I'm not saying that these aren't things that are rightfully to be mad about. Like this one is just a reminder of what Brad Pitt's kids think of him. And then it's an Instagram post. God. And it's Happy Father's Day to this world-class asshole. Don't even know if it's technically from his actual child, but cool. So but again, something to be mad about. And again, maybe the kid has a right to be really pissed.
So like, yeah, I again, my point of this wasn't that we shouldn't get angry. I think there's so many interesting conversations though around kind of like our immediate reaction to get angry and what we're actually doing with that anger. And at the end of the day, if you're I shouldn't say most angry. If you find a big trigger of anger is internet issues, I think it's a signal to get off the internet.
Yeah. 100%.
And again, I'm like being a little bit hypocritical by even saying that, but I'm saying it like as a reminder to myself because I would say I've done a pretty good job of like I really like weirdly like protect what I see on the internet. Like it's not like I don't want to see anything that'll make me mad, but I'm very like I like curate who I follow, and I like really am not in a situation where I go seeing a lot of like out of that space unless I seek it out, which could be good, could be bad. You can have arguments about either side. But like I'm not on Twitter where it's just like filling me with like random shit that isn't a topic I might interact with. Like Instagram doesn't really do that. I mean,
dude, all Twitter is just like engagement farming.
Yeah.
That's all it is anymore.
Exactly.
Thanks to fucking Elon.
Yeah.
Like it's all working as intended. And the intentions are dog shit.
Yeah.
It is an actual hellscape.
Yeah.
And people will say, like, oh, if you hate it so much, then just leave. But it's like, at the end of the day, Twitter's still one of the best places to interact and to see things and stuff like that. It's not the perfect trustworthy news source.
Yeah.
Never technically was.
Yeah.
But like, you could rely on Twitter for some decent news and stuff,
Yeah.
and you can't anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just absolute dog shit. And it's just engagement farming.
Yeah.
It's just is the dress purple and black or gold and white?
Yeah.
It's just that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Not that exact thing, but like, you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Somebody will feel the need to comment on X, Y, or Z. I'm going to do it. And people will then fight in the comments because of what somebody else said.
Yeah.
Was this person safe or out?
Right.
That's all you have to do. It doesn't matter. It's over.
Yeah. Again, in terms of like, this is, again, it's a topic that I'm so fucking interested in. Just haven't really had the time to like process and do like actual solid, genuine research on it, and not just kind of like people's opinions online. But I feel like for a large portion of my life, I would have been like, I'm an angry person. I'm like always kind of just like one stupid comment away from like blowing up on someone, which like I'd say in the past, like I sort of was. Not that I was like the angriest person on the planet, but I would say I held on to a lot of anger. Spencer nodding in agreement. Like I can get fired up about a lot of shit, and a lot of daily shit pisses me off, like 1000%.
I think just to sum it up, you're a right fucking bitch.
But I feel like in the past few years, it's almost like noticing sort of this like, I want to say like global anger has not calmed me down, but just been like, my anger is not going to add anything. Not to say I don't agree, but my immediate anger is not going to add anything. And so what can I do? Not to say there's always an answer, but what possibly can I do that will actually be an actionable thing over further screaming into the void? And that's not to say that's an answer. That is not an answer. Like, sometimes there's not an answer. Sometimes I can't do anything. And that is sort of the ups and downs of the globalization of media, globalization of news, is we now like literally know so, I don't want to say too much, but so much that like we physically can't do a lot about a lot of it.
It's weird.
Which is very upsetting.
That's got to be how things have always been.
And so it's very overwhelming. Like, it's really overwhelming.
We've always had Twitter.
And
it's always been a thing.
It's really like,
can't change.
If there's, this is always the sentiment that I hear from other people, is if there's one thing you can do, it's like the best action you can do is something local to you. Like that is generally where as a human you will have the most impact on anything. And you can feel compassion for things happening everywhere 100%. And, you know, you can like donate to causes. That is all fantastic. But in terms of day to day, the literal best thing you can do is try to be like a part of a community and be help where you can and be support where you can, and the end. And it's like insane. But I just like don't really have it in me anymore to like be, I mean, I'm angry, but I'm not like, I can't be Twitter angry about everything anymore. Like I just can't, like it's not in me anymore. And yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a very interesting thing. So I'm not saying this as to you, Spencer, to not be angry, because I agree with literally everything you're angry about. I absolutely agree. I just like the thing that I think our generation needs to like, which I think a lot of people are doing, is kind of like, what do we do with that anger? Like, what do we actually do? Because otherwise we're just yelling back at the people who like we don't agree with anyway. Mm-hmm. And yelling isn't going to correct either of our opinions or change either of our opinions. And it's not to say yelling doesn't feel really fucking good, but it's kind of like, what do we do after that? And that's all. That's it.
Yeah. All right. What? What do you want me to say to that?
I don't know.
You're right.
You don't have to say anything.
Okay, you're right.
No, you don't.
No, I don't want to get angry.
You definitely don't need to say I'm right.
No, you are though. Like,
but again, it's all like so much easier said than done. Like shit still pisses me off all the time. I don't know. I think it's just an interesting thing. I think it's just interesting. And I feel like if we all talked about how we get angry, maybe we could all be like a little less like immediate to blow up about something.
Well, like you want me to go to therapy?
Oh, you want me to like talk to someone about my problems? I ain't got no problems.
Back in my day, nobody had allergies.
Yeah. Tell them. We didn't even need the dentist back in my day. Everyone just died from random shit.
Nothing changes.
Nothing
needs to change.
Exactly.
People don't need to be allergic to things. Stop with this woke bullshit. Take us home, Shelby.
Okay, well, that was long, but thank you for being here. Yeah, we have some fun episodes coming up. We have some relationship-esque stuff coming up. Some do's and don'ts on marriage. We are the marriage pros here. So we're going to tell you what to do and not do. And that'll be really fun. So come back for the next few weeks. And at the end of April will be our 1979 movie club, which is going to be so good. We are almost through all the movies. And
one more
wow, we are impressed so far.
We're probably going to be wearing this outfit.
I will say that we are impressed with 1979 so far. So very excited. Make sure to tune in for that. But yeah, in the meantime, you can find both our socials in the description. I will put a bunch of links to articles that I highly recommend if you're even mildly interested in any of this. You should skim or read in the description. And you can find SMSoup podcast on pretty much all streaming podcast services, as well as YouTube at SMSoup podcast. And I think that's it. So
can people find clips anywhere?
People can sometimes, you can find clips. Will they be new? That is a question. That was on Instagram and TikTok. So just more shit Shelby is pushing off. Bye.